excellent day for an exorcism.
Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast.
I'm John. Fuck capitalism!
I'm Lindsay, trying to write horror novels because I was a weird kid.
The whole world is your urinal.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Hello! Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast. I'm John.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm M.
Today we are reviewing The Neon Demon. It's my pick. I have reviewed this before. It was one of the most unlistenable episodes I can remember ever recording.
Why was it unlistenable?
Because we did it in the car on the way to a casino.
Oh, that would explain it.
So
What about the one you did in Denny's?
Oh, that was the worst. The worst. Trying to talk about Hellraiser and you just hear dishes banging in the background. We've come a long way.
Yeah.
I wonder if you guys can hear all three of us. That's
Let's
a question.
hope.
Equally?
Yeah. I don't know. You can't
Look
see
at the
anything
line.
right now.
Look at the lines.
Yeah, the lines are small until I make them bigger.
Alright.
Does that make sense to anybody at home? Before we get started, if you would like to get a hold of us, Facebook.com/Just Another Horror Podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify. Be sure to rate and review, please, because we can't tell what you think, because not enough of you are doing it. I love you. But get your ass in gear.
Or we gonna sew your balls to the wall.
Oh, and
Do something, for God's sake.
also subscribe. And then you can reach one of these two, if you want.
On Twitter, at Just Horror Pod.
And Instagram, Just Stay Horror Pod.
Did you two feel like two nervous children afraid I would do that this time?
I
After
was
what
like,
happened last
no,
week?
in my head I'm like, Twitter. When he looks at you, Twitter.
Okay, Lindsay, how about a plot synopsis?
An aspiring model, Jessie, is new to Los Angeles. However, her beauty and youth, which generate intense fascination and jealousy within the fashion industry, may prove themselves sinister.
So, this isn't what I remembered, mostly because I was talking to another chauvinistic male. When I talked about this movie last time, I didn't remember anything that happened. So I was pleasantly surprised this time. I'm not going to say how much.
You didn't remember anything that happened in the movie?
I knew
Or
Keanu Reeves was in it. I knew
for like 2 minutes.
that Jenna Malone was in it.
Okay.
And that's all and I remembered the corpse scene and being like, wow,
That'd be hard to forget.
Yeah.
But I forgot nearly everything else that happened. And man, I am kind of glad because it was fun seeing it all again. This movie takes place in Los Angeles, and it starts off, oh man, the score in this. I am so happy by the score in this.
I like the score.
Love synth. The only synth score that I can think of that's better than this is It Follows, and I know you don't like that movie, but that score is, whew. So I'm a sucker for synth, sucker for bright colors,
Definitely.
weird shapes. So
Triangles.
triangles.
Weird shapes.
Did you see Enter the Void?
I did. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, did some of the visuals and music remind you slightly of that in
little
this? Me too. And then some of it was sort of reminded me of Suspiria, especially the red lighting.
I've heard people compare this to Suspiria.
I thought that it reminded me of.
What'd you guys think of Keanu Reeves in this movie? What's he doing here?
Well, he was a creep, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
He's such a likable person in real life, and in this, he's the opposite.
Is this his attempt to maybe get a little range going?
Probably.
Yeah, because I was hoping he'd be saying something cool or doing. Nah, he's just an asshole the whole time.
Oh,
he's in it.
definitely, yeah.
Jessie comes and is trying to get a modeling job. She has a boyfriend named Dean who's taking her. Is Dean taking the photographs at the beginning?
Yes.
Okay, where she's just covered in blood and stuff.
Yeah, and he looks very predatory at that time, but
Yeah.
he's really not.
Yeah, I guess he was just real serious about what he was doing.
Right,
that's
yeah.
all. When she's done and goes back to clean up, she runs into Jenna Malone, who is... Ruby. Thank you.
I have them all right
Oh,
here.
good. I know there's Gigi, too. I don't remember the other one's name, but...
Sarah?
Sarah. Okay. So, Ruby, I think just immediately, likes her, but also is looking for... I think she's looking for virgin blood.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's looking for. And so she's just, testing the waters with her to see what kind of... And so I have a question. Is there a demon in this movie?
I don't think so, no. I mean, I think the neon demon can be thought of in different ways. I think the neon demon is vanity Maybe.
I thought the reason that she was acting the way she did all of a sudden was because she got possessed.
Huh, I never thought of that.
Part of that,
maybe.
part of the ritual was her getting her blood drank by these people, I think.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't start hallucinating until she cuts her hand on the glass. So...
Well,
There's so many ways you can think of the neon demon. Like, it could be L.A., it could be her as a character, it could be so many things.
Fashion
Beauty.
industry.
Yeah.
She goes from being, like, real bashful to being, like, I'm the most beautiful thing that has ever walked the earth. Like, out of nowhere. And I wondered if it was because she just got a sudden rush of feeling what it was like to be the closer of that show she was in, or...
That really seemed to be what sparked that, because that's where you see the mirror images of herself, and she starts, like, kissing her reflection. Like, you can tell she's falling in love with her own beauty and kind of becoming more narcissistic.
I feel like that's the turning point, because then even the scene after that, whenever she walks into the restaurant with Dean and the other three, she looks very
totally different. Yeah, she looks like she's grown up, kind of, and she's more into herself, definitely.
Yeah.
When they first meet Gigi and Sarah, I thought they looked like mannequins. They didn't look
Yeah, I
human.
could see that.
Their faces were so wrong. like
Well, Gigi is played by Bella Heathcote, who's actually, she was in Professor Marston and the Wonder Women and pieces of her with Tony Collette and stuff, and she's actually Australian.
you could tell there was an accent there, definitely.
Yeah, a couple words. No, the other one
I think
has
Abby
an
Lee,
accent.
she was Australian, isn't she? The one that played Sarah.
I don't know. I don't know her. I don't know that actress.
She's a model, I know,
okay.
but I don't know if she has acted a lot before this or after either. I don't
I
know.
don't know either. The one with the accent, the one with the longer hair, the one with the shorter hair is Bella Heathcote.
Okay. So the one who had the accent in the movie didn't actually have an Australian accent.
I'm not sure.
She sounded more English to me.
They corner her in a bathroom. By they, I mean Gigi and Sarah corner Jessie in the bathroom.
And Ruby's there.
Ruby's there, just kind of there. It's almost
Well,
like
she's the one that invited her to the party, and she's friends with these other models.
But it's almost like she's directing this.
Oh,
whole thing.
definitely.
Yeah, she's making all of this stuff happen. So they're asking her, like, who do you sleep with? And all these, like, really inappropriate questions, and then they just kind of leave her there.
Yeah, and part of it's very foreshadowing when they're talking about the lipstick and like the people, like women are more likely to buy lipsticks that are named after food or sex.
Yep, are you
and they're
food
like,
or
are
are
you
you
food or are you
sex?
sex? And so we see what happens
food.
about that later. And did you think having the lipstick called Red Rum was definitely a nod to The Shining?
Oh, sure. Yeah. They go out and they watch this show, and then in the morning, Jessie is doing an interview with Roberta Hoffman and gets a job pretty easily. Like, she tells her, pretend you're 19, because nobody will believe 18 or 16, but they will believe anything that you tell them, so just say 19. So...
Yeah, they didn't want her to be they didn't want people to think that she was underage, so she had to lie. 18 would be too on the nose, she said.
This, man, Hollywood is just the grossest face of the earth, and I don't know why people want to go there, because the stuff that they talk about in this movie is probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Like, if you hit 21 years old, you're washed up.
I know, it's crazy.
It's insane.
I mean, these models are still so beautiful and young, but yet they're telling them they're basically done with now.
And so the only way to fix the problem is to lose massive amounts of weight and get massive amounts of surgery.
Yeah.
In your early 20s? Like, fuck this shit.
Yeah. And that hasn't been going on for that long, so we have no idea what these people are going to look like in like 40 years. Like, getting that much plastic surgery at that young of an age is probably not going to age well.
Knowing all that, seeing Jessie just walk right in and get a job would make me want to eat her too. Like, you spend $10,000 on getting your lips fixed, and then she just walks in and takes your job. I'd be like,
Do you feel like it was too easy for her? Like
Oh, yeah, I don't think
was-
that's accurate. I don't think very many people are going to have that experience.
at one point I remember thinking, I wonder if this is all in her imagination.
Oh, I didn't
that
think
like
of that.
everybody is just immediately taken with her just for no reason whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like I wondered if it was kind of in her head. I mean, I guess it couldn't have been, but like it was that extreme, I felt like.
I didn't look up any meanings of this movie. I don't know if you guys did. I made my own. You sound like you have your own. You sound like you have your
I did
oh, you
some
did?
research. Well, because I was, after I watched it, I was kind of like, like, and then I mean, the one theory is that Ruby, Sarah, and Gigi are a coven,
Right.
with Ruby being the leader.
She has all the tattoos at the end,
So you know she's into the
What
occult.
tattoos?
she's covered in occult tattoos.
She's naked and she's outside doing yard work,
Then she climbs in the open grave and just lays there.
which is only like a foot deep. What kind of grave is that?
I didn't realize the tattoos. First, I thought she just had on like a Lanyard shirt until it showed like close up. But I didn't realize I didn't really pay attention to what exactly the tattoos were of.
I think that's why they were showing it, to be like, look, look, look.
Right,
look.
yeah, you were supposed to know that she is. But I think Jessie was just supposed to be like this indescribable natural beauty that everyone was so jealous of, and that's what everybody was just immediately taken by.
Here's my theory, okay? I think Jessie shows up. She's young and naive, so they take her in. They show her that show, which gets her started towards... And what they really want to do is get this it, whatever it is, and I think it's a demon. But they want to get this it into her, then take her essence, her young essence, with the demon out.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They don't... Like, she doesn't have it going in. She gets it, then they take it from her.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know that there's actually a real demon, but maybe. That's not really how I think of it, but that's a possibility too.
I don't know if it's a demon or just maybe her being hypnotized, maybe, or possessed. Something.
Yeah, I think that at that time they're definitely beginning the ritual of getting her ready for sacrifice, kind of.
I wonder how many people are in on it, too.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, we know the the two models and then Ruby, but other than that, other people might be in on it, or they might not be.
The reason I say that is because there are several times when I'm like, well, he doesn't normally do that. Well, he doesn't normally do that. He never does that. Like, why
Right.
are they all...
Yeah.
all of them are
They
changing their
credit
ways.
they credit it to her having that thing that everybody is just in awe over.
Right.
But I don't know. If
I don't
that's
really
the
think
case.
anybody else is truly in on it other than those three. What do you think?
No, I think
Like, even Christina Hendricks in the beginning there, I don't think she's even in on it.
Is she the one who hires her?
She's like the agent or something,
the modeling agency. She recruited her to the modeling.
I wonder because Jenna Malone Ruby keeps ending up everywhere that these different things are. Like, she showed up at that thing, she showed up at one of her photo shoots. She's just all over the place. It makes me feel like it's either they're, and which I believe you guys, they're probably not, or she's manipulating it so that they kind of accidentally are in on it.
Yeah, I think she's trying to manipulate things.
Okay. It's
And, like,
working.
she wanted to stay there for that photo shoot with the one photographer
Creep
guy.
dude.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But everybody's happy, so I guess. I looked at this movie and you talk all the time when we're getting ready to take pictures about all this different stuff, and I am lost. Completely lost. Looking at this, I was in another world. I had no clue what these people were doing. Like, I'm like, how hard is it to take a picture? It's
I
not.
thought it was
Oh,
really
there's a lot that
interesting.
goes into
I thought
it.
it was really interesting how they were showing like how the lights were to make the certain even
Yeah.
just with the opening when she was on the couch and he had like two different lights facing
Right.
two different ways.
Every
to, like,
light is going to make different shadows and...
See, maybe that's it. I don't have the eye of a photographer, and I don't know what to look for. So when I look at like a picture, I'm like, "That's pretty good." So like if I had a model come in and I'd be like, nah, just go. All right, you go home. Here's $100.
That's what you would do with the model.
Yeah. I don't got time. Hurry up.
I got tacos upstairs.
You're the world famous photographer? Who said that? Jesus Christ, this is my mom's basement.
But in the beginning, like, Ruby seems like she's almost protective over Jessie, trying to, like, protect her from this photographer and stuff. But really, I think she's just
that
wanting
the
her for
pulling her-
herself kind of thing. And,
Pulling her in kind of
yeah.
because you have to gain somebody's trust. to
Right,
get
yeah.
close to them.
When Jessie's signed and she goes to the one audition where they have to walk back and forth, and like the one guy is just like completely awestruck.
It's a runway
Yeah.
show audition.
Thank you.
He totally ignores Sarah when she's doing
Oh,
it.
yeah,
Like, he
it
doesn't
was-
even look at her at all. He's just looking at his handkerchief.
He even he looked at her and was like, "Oh," or
Yeah, and then he
something
just
made
stopped
some kind
looking
of
at
noise.
her.
Somebody talked to him and was like explaining who she was, and apparently it really upset him.
Yeah. But I thought he was gross when Jesse was doing it. It's like he was basically salivating watching her.
So gross.
And I mean, sure, he doesn't know she's only 16, but it's gross.
But you can tell she's young.
Yeah.
You know, like, even
Just that whole room, that scene with that all like 20 of them sitting in chairs in their underwear. I'm like, this is like a cattle farm. They're
Right,
like
yeah.
animals just being herded around. Ugh, for what? Like, what is the? If you're a model, what is your shelf life in reality, and what are you doing? Like, are you trying to make as much money as fast as you can because you're going to be done
definitely.
soon? Or
I mean,
like-
there's certain people that can make careers past that. You know, Tyra Banks or
Cindy
Naomi
Crawford.
Campbell. Like, these people that like are more than just a model, really. But yeah, for just a basic model, they don't have very long in the industry. They've got to like do as much as they can in a short amount of time.
They did discuss that, right? Like people who don't let it go.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. I can't imagine why. You would
Yeah,
get
they're
into
like, oh
this.
yeah, she's 22 now. She thinks she can still model.
That's right.
Like, the modeling industry, it's so harsh.
I
Like,
think it's ridiculous.
oh, it really is. Or like when she's talking to the modeling agent, she's like, now I would never call you fat, but somebody else might. And she's like not got an ounce of fat on her.
Some of them don't even have an ounce of muscle. They're just bone.
Yeah, they're just skin and bones. I'm glad it's not like it used to, because back in the 90s, models were just
Skeletons.
so...
Heroin chic was the term.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Heroin chic.
Holy
Uh-huh.
shit. Ugh. And people thought this was attractive?
Yeah,
Bones?
it's weird.
I mean, I didn't.
No,
but
me neither.
Then they told girls that was attractive. And girls tried to-
Yeah.
oh, my
I'm sure like
God,
almost
what a
every
nightmare.
model was anorexic or bulimic.
Had to be, and that
Yeah.
probably wasn't even enough.
Right, yeah.
That's why, like, when they're eating a fruit cup, like, they're all three gonna
Yeah,
split
eating
a
one fruit cup.
3 coffees and a
Jesus
fruit cup.
Christ, so that they can shit it all out as fast as
Yeah.
possible.
Well, with the one girl's like, you're not going to eat it anyway.
Right.
Oh no, he
But
wanted
then
to
they-
read the specials, and you're like, well, she memorized them. We should let her read them at least.
God. But then they eat an entire human.
Right, I know. How are they fitting all that in them? They're not used to eating that
That's
much.
why the one girl threw it back up. She's like, too
Partially,
much
maybe.
food. So, Sarah goes into the bathroom and smashes a mirror, and Jesse goes in to see what happened. And Sarah asks Jesse what it feels like to be like the center of attention. I can't remember how she phrased
Yeah,
it.
like you come into the room and
It's
it's like the
winter,
middle of winter and you're
you're
the
the sun.
sun. And she said it's everything.
Which ticked her off.
Yep.
So she lunged at her. I don't know what she was planning on doing.
No, I think she was just upset. I don't think she was going to do anything. But then Jessie, of course, cut herself on the glass.
That could have been an involuntary spasm from not eating for 3 weeks. Jesus Christ.
But the one thing that she did, I remember what Sarah said something, and then Jessie said, "What do you mean?" or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's taking
Yeah.
the innocent thing like a little too far. That's what made me think maybe she wasn't so innocent. You know what I
Maybe.
mean?
Well, at one point she
But-
does say, I am not as helpless as you think I am.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Maybe that's what it was. She brought that with her on purpose, knowing it would help her.
Could be.
So,
Do you think she was acting innocent from the beginning, or do you think she actually developed into this?
While watching it, I thought that she actually developed into it, but maybe she wasn't as innocent as she seemed in the beginning. It's possible. But I don't know. I think she was, because, like, she was a virgin, I think, and she
She had just turned 16.
Yeah, she was a very young girl, and she just arrived in LA. It's not like she was a part of all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm either leaning towards possession or she was faking it to begin with. Like, I don't know that you can have that much of a turn that fast. Although I've
But
never
I think
been
it had to
the
do-
closer of a runway show, so I don't know.
Right, yeah. And I mean, were they trying to bring her to that point too? Like the
think so.
coven?
I think
So,
Because they needed her to be like that so that when they took her essence from her, they would have it.
right. So I think that's probably why
But
she...
then, why wouldn't they be encouraging of her? Like, she knew they hated her. Like, why wouldn't they be more like, oh,
Maybe they didn't
yeah,
like
you
the
look
process.
great, you
Maybe they
deserve
didn't,
it.
they didn't like the. She already had it anyway. For one, she was like, I am the prettiest girl in the room.
Yeah.
But
the models were very jealous of her, and Ruby, like, wanted her.
Right.
that could be. They knew they were going to take all that stuff from her, but they also were still mad. Like, they don't like her. They wish they didn't have to do this shit that it just happened.
Yeah.
So why on earth? Like, knowing all this stuff, like, why would people still try to be a model? There's just nothing there.
Fame, money.
But there's barely any of that. Like, if there was like a legit chance that you could become a famous, rich model, I'd say okay, but there literally isn't.
Well, some people do.
Yeah, some people do it.
It's like six people.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's the same reason boys want to be, baseball stars or
Yeah.
football stars or whatever. It's one in a million chance you're going to actually do it.
Ruby works at a morgue. She does the makeup for the corpses, I think, before they go to the funerals.
Right.
That's just...
Which is odd to go from, like, high fashion photo shoots to some part-time work at the morgue. I thought that was
You gotta grind, man.
interesting.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
She likes
Yep.
to
And it's very fitting for her as a character to be doing both.
Yeah, I guess.
Hank is the name of Keanu Reeves' character. Let's talk about Hank for a second.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit.
Oh,
He's
definitely.
a scumbag. And this
Sorry,
is...
go ahead.
I can't imagine, like, everybody telling somebody who's never seen a Keanu Reeves movie before, what a great, wonderful guy Keanu Reeves is. And they're like,
know.
oh, alright. And they watch Neon Demon and they're like, alright. And they see this, and they're like, what the fuck?
But that's
know that-
acting.
I don't know that he's a great, wonderful guy. Is he a great, wonderful guy?
Everybody says so.
Yeah,
I mean,
everyone-
like, everyone he's
yeah.
worked with, they all say he's such a nice...
Him and
Person.
Hanks are, like, these two guys that just...
Hanks.
I feel like especially Keanu Reeves, though, because some stuff has been said about Tom Hanks a little bit.
Oh, God,
Like
here it
J.
comes.
Fox. Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, him too. Like, what the hell? And
Amazingly nice person.
Christopher Lloyd never got shit.
John Bon Jovi. He's known as being the nicest
Yeah, I
guy
don't think
in
I've
the
ever
world.
heard anything bad about him.
I don't know that I've heard. I guess I never heard like Keanu Reeves is just the nicest.
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get pictures taken with him, and he's real friendly with people that walk up to him and helps people out. So yeah, but in this movie, he encourages underage girls to stay at his hotel, and then encourages guests to go visit them.
Yeah,
Is he the one that went and tried to get into her room and then attacked the neighbor?
that's my
Was
assumption.
that him? I
Yeah.
thought it was him, but I was not sure.
I mean, it's right after she has that dream where he's sticking that knife down her throat.
I think that was a vision, what do you call
Premonition?
it? Premonition of to tell
What
him,
could
"Get
happen."
out of that room.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think so too. Because immediately when she wakes up from that, she hears him trying to get into her door,
Right.
and then she's able to hurry up and get that extra lock, and then he gets to that 13-year-old next to her.
I think here's the thing. I think a lot of manipulation was going on to get her out of that apartment too.
Yes, definitely. Because
that-
Ruby wanted her in that mansion.
That cat that got in there. Later in the movie, when she's in the house, they show a stuffed
Yeah.
cat
Yep.
that looks just
Yep,
like
they've got like a mountain lion in there, and then I think, was it
like a
a
leopard
jaguar?
or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In her house that she said she was house sitting for, so I'm
Right.
not sure about that.
Yeah, I'm curious
No
about
idea.
that too. Like, whose place really was that?
Mm-hmm.
And did she really have permission to be there, or did she just know that nobody's there for a while and
Mm-hmm.
she's gonna stay there? I don't know.
confused me. Yeah.
Was the cat in her room one of those three?
I wondered that too,
Shapeshifter?
or if they just got the cat in there. So, I mean, like maybe with their magic or whatever, got
Yeah.
it so that there was a mountain lion in her room,
didn't-
or maybe it was one of them.
They did get it out, but I don't think that they chased it out. I think he mentioned something about how much it took to get it out of the room,
Right, and it had destroyed the room in
Yeah.
the process.
and he wants her to pay for it. So her
Yeah.
wonderful boyfriend does it for her.
Right.
He's not 100% wonderful.
No,
What do you do?
I would like to know how old he is,
Okay.
for one thing.
Because when she told him she had just turned 16, and he was like, "Okay, I gotta go now."
Right,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Which
I was
makes me
confused
think-
by that.
But then, next thing you know, he's trying to kiss
But
her.
then
Yeah,
he
that's
was,
why I was
She
confused.
was like, "Oh no, don't do it."
Right,
you know?
yeah. Like, she just turned 16. Clearly, he's at least an adult. We
Right.
don't know how old he is, but...
It would have been nice if they would have spelled that out. Like, if he is creepy, get him out of there, and if he isn't, then
And
make
he
it
does
clear.
seem fairly young. He's probably no older than 20, so it's not that weird, but still, she's underage.
If all they do is just escort each other around, it's fine.
Right, because nothing was
Anything
happening
physical-
sexually with them.
Yeah.
He was the nicest person in the entire movie.
Definitely.
He wasn't 100%, but he was definitely the nicest person in the movie.
For sure.
I felt like he was just kind of looking out for her, really. But she goes home from getting attacked in the bathroom and has a hallucination where she sees triangles and weird shit. Wakes up, goes and does the fashion show, the runway show, And when she gets there, the director of it says, "You're the closing model." And she goes out onto the runway and sees the triangles again.
Yeah.
But then they go to the restaurant, right? And that's when the guy who runs the fashion show is sitting in a booth with Gigi and Sarah, I think, and talking about how pathetic it is when you go get work done, and you can tell who gets work done and who doesn't get work done,
Right.
which just pisses them off even more. And tries to ask Dean, "What do you think?" And he's like, I don't want to talk about this shit. Let's go. And Jesse's like, "Go." So he leaves. And that's pretty much the end of Dean. He comes back one more time.
I mean,
and then
he said that he did think that beauty was inward, instead of just outer beauty. But the guy, he was like, well, you would not have noticed her if she wasn't beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So what I have to say to that is, of course, the first thing you notice about somebody is how they look.
Right.
Because how else are you supposed to... You can't...
Yeah, unless you're blind.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you go from there. Like,
Yeah.
But he made it sound like that. He literally said that's the only thing there is.
Yeah, he
Right.
said it's
So-
not just everything's
It's-
the only thing. My response to that is that several times I have seen somebody that I've thought was very attractive. I mean, I've told you this kind of thing before. I've thought is very attractive, and then I've talked to them, and I've gotten to know them, and they become
Not so attractive.
Not as attractive
Yeah.
at all. I've also known people that at first sight I wouldn't have thought was very attractive, but then getting to know them and then they become more
Right.
attractive.
I
So
totally agree.
it's like- so it's not that the physical looks or whatever
Right.
doesn't take part, but I feel like it is a small part. or
I
a fraction
totally
of the part.
agree.
It's what-
Like, I
it's
can
what
look at
kickstarts
somebody and
things,
think
I
that
think.
person is good looking, but I personally, I cannot be attracted to somebody just by how they look. Like, I have to get to know them.
Yes.
Like, sure, I can be like, okay, that person's good looking, but I feel absolutely nothing until I get to know you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, lots of stuff is cool to look at.
Right.
Cats, art. you
Yeah.
know.
Cats. Cats is the first thing you say.
I saw her running behind her, and I was like, "Oh, look at the cute cat." That's where my mind was. Jessie has a premonition that Keanu Reeves broke in her room and tried to stick a knife in her mouth, so she leaves and goes to Ruby's house, whatever. She is house sitting. Ruby starts hitting on her hard and is, like, almost sexually assaulting her.
Yeah,
It's like,
she's like trying to
"Fuck
rape
off,
her.
man." Yeah. So she's like, "Fine, I'll take my business elsewhere." And off to the morgue she goes.
Yeah, first she draws that face on the mirror, and that has to be like supposed to, I don't know if that's, you
Maybe
remember
that's- maybe
there's
that's
like the
telling the
X's
other
for
people
eyes.
something.
I don't know if it's that or if it was starting some sort of ritual or something that needed to be done in order to,
Maybe it's like, okay, I'm not going to get into a thing with her, so now she's like,
right.
fair game.
Now she's not sex, she's food. Right?
I like
That was
it.
awesome.
I like it.
Ruby masturbates on top of a corpse. We're just gonna skim over that like that's not a thing
gotta
that
see
happened.
Gotta
That's
see it.
definitely the most memorable part, but it is
Yeah, it's-
disgusting and,
And
very
it's not
uncomfortable.
really important, and yeah, but you'll remember it.
Oh yeah.
And then
I wrote down, oh, Ruby, dead bodies? Ew, go find a nice girl.
Right. But she's like fantasizing about Jessie as she's doing it, but like, oh, so gross.
so Ruby comes home, and oh man, Jessie just says like the cruelest fucked up thing. She's like, "Women starve themselves to be half of what I am." I'm sure you guys actually have the real quote, right?
People would kill to look like me?
Something like
That's
that.
what I wrote down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do all sorts of things, get plastic surgery just to look half as good as she does.
Yeah, oh, and she said kind of the same thing to Dean. Dean was like, you want to be like those people?
No, they
and
wanna
she's
be
like,
like me.
no, they want to be like me.
Right, yeah. To be a
That was-
second-rate version of her or something like that. And she's at the end of the diving board into the empty
It
pool.
was so cool because it looked like she was levitating.
Yeah, it
was
really
so
did.
cool.
That was such a cool shot.
But she goes in the house, and Gigi and Sarah are in there, and it's clear they're going to kill her. And she's trying to fight back, but she ends up back at the pool, and Ruby pushes her in the empty pool, and she's not dead, but close.
Yeah.
And then they go down, and it cuts away, but they eat her.
Yeah, they're bathing in her blood and they've eaten her.
Ruby's just straight up in a bathtub full of blood.
Yeah.
Yes, which is, I think, a reference to Elizabeth Bathory,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Who she was like I don't know if she was real. I think she was
She
kind
was
of
a
like
real person, I think,
yeah.
but not necessarily true that she did these things.
Right, kind of like a, who's the vampire guy?
Dracula?
The one.
Nosferatu.
No, the one. He was like a ruler that they like. The rumor was that he was a vampire. But
Vlad
nobody-
the Impaler?
maybe.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the first vampire.
So something like that. But she would bathe in the blood of virgins to retain her.
Right.
They did that in Hostel 2. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Yeah, that scene was intense.
What, aren't you going to ask me if I've seen Hostel 2?
Have you seen Hostel 2?
I'm sure it's
Adam?
one of your favorites.
I have not. I had no plans to watch it either.
Shocked. After they're done with all the blood stuff, that's when we see Ruby standing outside without her shirt on, covered in like cult tattoos, and rolling around, and
Like doing
sleeping
yard
in-
work?
spraying something. I don't know what she's spraying. Blood, maybe, that was left over.
She was watering the plants, and then, yeah, I think she was spraying the blood.
Yeah. And then when she was laying in the grave, that was actually kind of a beautiful shot, too, with all the pretty flowers around and everything.
And then she's in the house and starts bleeding a lot.
Yeah, it like looked like she had almost like a pile of period blood coming out of her,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's what it was. It probably had something to do with the ritual and having eaten Jesse, right?
I did see a theory about this, but I forget what.
Something like her own blood leaving her and being replaced with Jesse's, maybe?
Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean, it does if you're in this world. Was the moon full at that point, too? I think it was.
Oh, right. She said that when she was young, she used to sit out and look at the moon. And think
Jesse
it was,
said that earlier in the
It was like
movie.
an eye, and she'd ask if it could see her.
Right.
And I think at one point, she's looking up at the sky right before she dies, and there's no moon there. And I thought that was like, nope, can't see anymore. So, I don't know. Maybe that was on purpose, or maybe I was reading too much into it. I don't know. But
And then there's an eye that comes into play later, too.
Yep. So Sarah and Gigi got jobs now. They're at Jack's, the creepy guy from the beginnings, shoot. I think Sarah's just pretending.
She's just
that-
there
yeah.
to wait for her friend while she does her modeling
This is her
shoot.
cool, I don't care persona. Oh, you want me to do a shoot? I guess. All right. So they're they're out there, and Gigi starts getting sick.
Well, first that girl is also going to be what?
The one that gets fired. Oh, that's
Right,
not-
yeah, the one that gets fired. She asks her if she's ever like been screwed over for a job by another girl, and she's like, "Yes, I have." What? And then she asked what she did about it, and she's like, "I ate her."
That was amazing.
But then Gigi's kind of looking really guilty and like, "Oh, like it."
So Sarah's fully on board. Gigi is not so sure she's
Yeah.
on board.
Well, and it could be that Gigi is new to this.
That could
And
be.
that's why she's like having the guilt and maybe the rejection of the cannibalism or whatever it was. And
Yeah, I feel like maybe the only true witch was Ruby, but the other girls, they just really wanted this beauty and everything, and they went with it because of that, like, because they wanted it so bad. But I don't know
Could be.
that they were both, like, really into the occult or anything.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Ruby just runs it, and she's like, "You guys want some? I can help you out." And Sarah's like, "Cool," and Gigi's like,
Yeah.
"All right, I guess."
And I mean,
So-
Gigi is the one that's gotten so much plastic surgery. She just wants to be beautiful so bad, and so she just resorts to this.
She just looks sickly. Like her face is just like she hasn't eaten in forever.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, while they're doing the shoot, she's looking at this pool and thinking about what happened and gets pretty sick.
yeah, she does. So she goes in and throws up, and an eyeball comes out and just plops on the
Yep.
ground.
And as soon as she did that, I'm like, I know what's gonna happen
I know.
here.
Yeah. I was
I know
like-
she's gonna.
I looked at the other girl's face and I was like, don't do it. Don't
I'm
do
so
it.
hungry.
I know.
I'm so hungry.
But I'm like, yeah, you don't want to at least rinse that eyeball off
Yeah, I
first.
know,
Like
it
it's
was
covered in
already-
puke.
Somebody else
Just pops it in her
already.
mouth.
There's gotta be a more sanitized way to eat an eyeball.
But Gigi's like, I gotta get her out of me, and she just ends up stabbing herself and killing
Bleeding out.
herself. Yeah.
And Sarah's just like,
Oh well.
I'm
I
back
guess
to the
I'll go
shoot.
back to the shoot.
"Oh, there's a dead girl in your bedroom, and you only want to get that later. Let's get back to the shooting."
She just seems almost sociopathic. Like she doesn't care. Like none of this affects her.
Well, and the other thing I thought is, how would she not get blamed for that? Like,
I'm-
how would they not think that she
Well,
stabbed her?
But with like, what's it called? You know, when they
Forensics?
yes, forensics.
Yeah, they'd
like
see
they
it
can
herself.
figure it
Yeah,
out.
they
Like
did it
they'll be
by
able to
herself.
tell that she did it herself, probably.
All right. Or they probably just, dump her somewhere because she's not who cares.
That's true. Yeah. Or they might eat her. I don't know. I don't like her
photographer and
vibes.
stuff?
I don't like her vibes, man. It's Hollywood. People eat each other all the time. Jeez.
They just might.
I'm not a Republican, I promise you.
I'm not either. But I still think there's possibilities of
Yeah,
those kind of things
probably.
happening. What do you think that the triangles were representing throughout the
That's
movie?
just a cult thing. That's like Illuminati shit right there.
Right, yeah.
So-
But I mean, I don't know, like, did this have to do with the Illuminati, do you think? Or was it just an occult symbol, like the
just-
all-seeing eye thing?
It's just something people would recognize.
And, like, climbing to the top of the pyramid.
I mean,
Well,
all
the eye
you know,
thing.
yeah, that all does
Yeah.
sound a little Illuminati-ish.
I feel like it was kind of like the standard symbols and tropes. I don't know
Just
what the word
easily
is. Like,
recognizable stuff.
you know what I mean? But and one of my problems with it is that it was messy. It was kind of all over the place. You know what I mean? Like,
I think this is interesting. Did you know that the director is colorblind?
Nope.
So he said that he can only, like,
man.
see big contrasts, and that's partially why it's so colorful.
That makes perfect. I'm glad. Thank you for being colorblind, sir, because I love the colors.
But he hired also female writers and cinematographer to help with this too. So
There was not many men in this movie. There
no,
was, like,
and the ones that
4.
were just had very minor parts, like in other movies where the men might have the big parts and women are so minor.
Okay, so I go first here, I guess.
it was your pick.
Yeah, I like Suspiria better than this.
Well, yeah.
I like bright colors and cool sounds. I didn't like anybody in this movie. I thought some of it was cool. I thought some of like the kills, the girl getting eaten, and then I know you didn't like it, but I love the eyeball. And she's just like, no, that's my kind of shit. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's so crazy. But there were parts where I was confused. I didn't really know what to make of anything at the end of it. And it has the other thing where I don't really care if I ever see it again or not. Like, I know that's mean to say, and I don't think it's a bad movie. It just didn't really hold my interest. And this is the second time I've watched it. And both times I was just kind of left like, I thought there was going to be something here. And it just kind of ends. And you don't really... What happens to Jenna Malone's character? Yeah, I don't know. And that's it. Like, it's like a really cool foundation with nothing inside. Oh, like
Yes.
models.
Yeah, I feel like it's really fitting.
Models can be smart too. Just because you're beautiful doesn't
Well,
mean
yeah.
you're not smart.
The ones in this movie,
But
though,
I
are
mean-
just shallow as it gets.
Yes.
So, and that's what this movie is, really. It's shocking in some parts and boring in others. So, I'm going to give it a 6 because it's watchable, but not great. Oh, Lindsay.
Well, I watched the movie twice, like within a couple of days. And the first time I watched it, I wasn't sure about it. I was like, I don't know that I really liked it. But then the second time, I actually liked it a lot more. So, and I have that kind of thing happen with me a lot of the time when I watch movies. I don't know why that is. Depends on my mood and all that. The first time I watched it, I was very confused throughout most of it. I'm like, where is this going exactly? Like, I didn't know where they were going with it. So knowing that, watching it the second time, I think that kind of made me like it more, maybe. I think it was just really beautiful, like visually beautiful, and I love that kind of thing. And it was kind of shallow, and I think it was meant to be shallow because that's what the industry is, and that's what it's about, is beauty. And the movie itself was just beautiful, but not full of a lot of substance, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought the acting was good. Elle Fanning did a really good job, too. And I think she was, like, very well cast to be in that. Yeah, very memorable, like, shocking moments, definitely, at certain points. The knife part, like, down the throat, and then, of course, the corpse scene and the eyeball and all that. Very memorable things. I'm actually gonna give it a 7, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. M?
Yeah, at the end I was kind of like, I, like, once I did a little bit of research and kind of connected some dots, it was a little bit better, but I think my problem with it was that I didn't really like any of the characters. Like I said, Dean was the nicest person in the movie, so, like, I didn't really care when Desi got killed. I didn't really care when Gigi killed herself. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, there was no connection. Like, I mean, the whole shallow narcissism thing was probably on purpose, but it also made me kind of indifferent. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, visually it was crazy in a good way. I was just kind of like, And I did like, and it was slow moving in parts that I was kind of, So I'll say 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it definitely could have been shortened a little bit. Some of it like went on a little bit more than it needed to.
Mm-hmm. I really did enjoy like the scenes where she was hallucinating and shit.
Yeah.
Those were cool. And all of the cool lights and the strobe scene when they were in the club was
That
really
was probably
cool.
my favorite scene.
Mm-hmm.
With the strobe lights and then just seeing like flashes of their faces watching, and you know what I mean, and kind of how Jessie was becoming more comfortable, like, and you know, liking what she was seeing and stuff. I really liked that scene. That
Sarah
was probably my
and
favorite.
Gigi looked like what do you call them? Mannequins. They looked like mannequins in that scene. Like I was like, are they the same people? Are they in another room? Those are mannequins. And then Gigi would move, and I'd be like, what the fuck is happening?
Also, I guess they did everything in chronological order in this movie when they filmed it, and they changed it as they went. So he had a basic idea, and as they were going along, he'd ask the actors, what do you think? What do you want to do here? And so then they'd have to change the next day because they had changed something that day. So it kind of wasn't the original vision by the time it was done.
That's interesting.
What was the original? Like, I don't know what the vision of this is.
This guy, the director, has 2 other movies, Driven, and at least
Well,
2
he
other
has
movies.
several.
Yeah. The one review that I watched said, like, he's obvious. This is not my opinion, this is hers. He's obviously narcissistic and owns it.
I could see
And
it.
is, like, you know, like, yeah, that's how I am, kind of guy. But, I mean, I don't know if that came through in this movie necessarily.
I know he said that the inspiration for the movie came, he woke up one day and he looked at his wife and he thought, she was born beautiful, I'm not beautiful, and he wanted to make a movie about that.
That's interesting.
You're right?
I was excited whenever I first, like, I read, like, a synopsis, and I was like, oh, it's like this female-driven cast, and maybe it's kind of like a take on, you know, the modeling industry and fashion and all, and like
It is, but not
in the way that I would like. You know what I mean?
I mean, it does point out all the problems with it, but it makes
Right.
no solutions whatsoever.
Yeah.
It just goes with it.
And I'm glad that he did have so many women involved in the making of
sure.
this movie, so it wasn't just all a male vision and then making the women actors do all the things that he came up with. It was...
Right.
And there wasn't a lot of exploitative nudity either.
Right.
Which-
Yeah.
In the last review I did of this, really upset Cobra.
But there was no nudity?
There was no nudity in
Well,
this
there was
movie.
nudity. The corpse.
Yeah.
But that was disgusting.
No, he didn't care. Like, he's made... Oh, my God. There was one movie we watched, Dead Snow, where, like, there was no nudity in the movie, and the movie was, like, a 9 out of 10. That movie was fucking amazing. But he was mad and gave it, like, a 5.
Why
And he's
doesn't he
like-
just watch porn?
That's what I said. He's like, no, it's gotta be... They just gotta walk around nude. They don't have to fuck. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, there's that old lady in the bathroom. I'm like, she's like 100 years old. And he's like, yeah, but that's still... Excuse me, I'm so sorry. That's still titties.
I hate that word.
Anyway.
Well, everyone likes something different, looks for something different in their movies.
Different strokes, different folks.
No judgment, if
Nope.
that's what you like.
I used to say that, like, why don't you just watch... Why are you watching porn? And then he came up with, what was the name of that terrible show that his girlfriend made us do? Best chess of whatever year. And then he
His
would basically...
girlfriend came up with that
She
idea?
wrote the lists, and he would read them. It was whoever was nude in a horror movie that year, he would read them off and be like,
I bet it's so strong.
No, I was just gonna say some socialist propaganda
Well, you can
and
do
move
that.
on.
We can figure this out
All right.
eventually.
Look, for the time being, everybody, we're going to end our show with a positive message. And the positive message this week is no gods, no masters.